Ever wonder how fighter pilots maintain perfect hearing, despite enduring brutal G-forces, rapid altitude shifts, and the deafening roar of jet engines blasting at 140 decibels? These elite aviators push the limits of human endurance, executing supersonic maneuvers, diving through violent turbulence, and launching off aircraft carriers with bone-crushing acceleration. And yet, while commercial pilots and everyday people struggle with muffled hearing, painful ear pressure, and relentless tinnitus after a single flight, fighter pilots stay sharp. No ringing, no clogged ears, no frustrating struggle to follow conversations. For years, this was classified one of the Air Force's best-kept aviation secrets. But it has nothing to do with expensive gear, noise-canceling helmets, or cutting-edge implants. Fighter pilots rely on a simple 10-second technique, a method so straightforward it sounds almost too easy. But the results speak for themselves. This air pressure reset trick instantly clears clogged ears, eliminates ringing, and restores crystal-clear hearing. Whether you've been exposed to extreme altitude shifts, ear-pounding noise, or years of debilitating hearing strain, tinnitus, fading hearing, and pressure-induced deafness aren't just ear problems. They happen when your inner ear loses its ability to regulate pressure, something that worsens every time you fly, dive, or experience rapid altitude changes. Standard solutions, hearing aids, meds, or surgery don't actually fix the problem. But this 10-second fighter pilot trick does. It resets your inner ear's pressure balance, allowing your hearing to function exactly as it should, without strain, without frustration, and without the endless ringing. And the best part? It doesn't require any special equipment. No weird gadgets, no invasive procedures, just a simple tweak to your daily routine using something you already have in your home. Backed by aviation medical research and tested in real-world high-altitude combat zones, this method has helped thousands of pilots maintain peak hearing performance. And now, for the first time, it's available to civilians looking to restore their hearing and silence the noise for good. I didn't believe it at first, either. For years, I suffered from that same maddening ringing, the kind that hijacks your focus, keeps you up at night, and makes every conversation feel like a battle. But when I tried this technique, everything changed. Within days, the ringing softened. Within weeks, it was gone. My focus sharpened, sleep became effortless. It was like my ears and my brain had been completely reset. And I'm not the only one. Over 40,000 people, frequent flyers, ex-military, pilots, and everyday men and women have already used this method to restore their hearing and eliminate tinnitus for good. Stay with me, because in the next 2 minutes, I'll show you exactly how this Air Force-approved technique works and how it can help you restore your hearing in record time.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Mitchell Wilson. Let me tell you, I've been through the ringer with tinnitus. And despite my extensive medical background, no matter what I did, those relentless sounds seemed to stalk me everywhere I went. At home, at work, while driving, or even when hanging out with friends and family. You name it, I couldn't escape it. I'd find myself constantly on edge, trying to drown out the metallic racket by running to the bathroom and blasting the faucet. It was like a never-ending battle just to find a moment of peace. After years of torment, I finally found one of the only tried and tested methods that allowed me to permanently hush that violent ringing once and for all. And I was shocked to find out it had nothing to do with my actual ears. Instead, a brilliant team of neurologists, ENTs, and medical professionals gathered together to crack the code on the root cause of ringing in the ears. After extensive testing and the use of high-performance laboratory equipment, we finally discovered a 100% natural method to reverse hearing loss, tinnitus, or cognitive depletion for good. They found that certain compounds allow the growth and regeneration of microscopic hairs found inside your ears, called cochlear cells, that decode sounds through a unique process called neuroplasticity. It can be done from home and starts working almost immediately. This revolutionary method has undergone rigorous testing, passing every FDA trial with flying colors before reaching you today in its perfected form. In just the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this from the comfort of your couch and teach you what you need to do today to finally put an end to those maddening sounds or fading hearing and restore your mental clarity like I and over 40,000 people have done in record time. Now, you're probably wondering why you haven't seen anything like this from your own personal research, using tools such as Google or YouTube. And that's because it's extremely challenging to make scientific discoveries as exciting as this available to the public before getting Big Pharma's stamp of approval. They make a fortune off selling you those ugly hearing aids and other Band-Aid solutions that never treat the root cause. Because think about it. Every cured person means a lost profit that goes straight to the Big Pharma bank accounts. So naturally, the higher-ups in the medical community wanted us to wait more than a year before revealing this one-of-a-kind treatment. But with over 50 million people worldwide suffering from tinnitus and other hearing impairments, and thousands more each day losing their hearing capabilities, we just can't wait another damn second. Especially because we know firsthand that this method works even in the most severe cases. Doesn't matter if you've had tinnitus for 5, 10, or even 15 years, or if you're 20 or even 80 years old, as this treatment works for everyone. Doesn't matter your age or genetics. So pay close attention for the next couple of minutes, because we're not sure how long this video will remain online. We're trying with all our efforts to make this viral so people can finally get well. But first, let me explain exactly what you'll learn in this video. 1. I'll show you exactly why and how that dreadful sound of tinnitus started, and how it can cause you to lose your hearing, memory, and even go senile. 2. Once you know why this happened and what caused it, you'll finally be able to restore your hearing and stop those whining noises from ever attacking your hearing again, and hitting the pause button on all your hearing problems once and for all. Ivy League scientists have already acknowledged this revolutionary method, which functions as a magical repair kit for all the faulty wiring in your auditory system. Not only does it give your brain cells a powerful boost, but it also rejuvenates your brain while improving cognitive function. Imagine that. It's like hitting the reset button for your hearing and keeping your brain firing on all cylinders, so you could say goodbye to all those hearing impairments and ailments that tag along with it. Sounds too good to be true? Believe it or not, I know exactly how you're feeling at this very moment. The struggle to find even a moment of silence, the hope slipping away, and those moments when you wonder if you're losing your mind. I want you to know, no matter how you're feeling at this very moment, no matter how crazy that sound is getting, it's not your fault. There is hope and a way out. Even with my medical background, tinnitus had me feeling completely useless, pushing me to try all sorts of remedies that I couldn't medically justify. Sound familiar? But it stops today, because I promise you, you will reclaim the life you once had. You will stop suffering, and things can go back to normal. Gone are the days of headaches, dizziness, and nausea, all replaced by crystal clear 20/20 HD hearing. The feelings of anger, irritation, and depression, replaced by a profound sense of mental peace. Or those endless nights pleading with God for just a moment of peace. Instead, only restful, rejuvenating sleep. And the best part? You can silence your tinnitus forever, starting right now. Just how the 40,000 beta test patients did. So let's replicate their results and stop that whistling in your ears and restore your hearing. But more importantly, we're going to stop the brain from deteriorating, because the intriguing power of this method starts by repairing certain neural connections that have degraded over decades that led to your tinnitus. We'll feed these nerve endings with a blend of unique substances that it's been lacking for years, while putting an end to that screeching, buzzing, and crackling in your ears that haunt you day and night, and free yourself from this torture known as tinnitus. It's time to get your life back and reclaim your brain. I want you to stop everything you're doing and pay very close attention, because in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you how in just as little as 20 days, you'll have the peace of mind knowing that you finally solved your tinnitus and can finally enjoy the silence once and for all. Now, have you ever had one of those days where everything seems ordinary and suddenly it's not? That's pretty much how it went down for me. It was just a regular Tuesday afternoon. Nothing particularly special about it. I was sitting at my desk in the office, typing away at some mundane lab report, and that's when it hit me. The first inkling of trouble came as a faint ringing in my ears. At first, I brushed it off as nothing, but some random noise in the background. But it didn't fade away like I expected it to. Instead, it just grew louder, more insistent, until it was all I could hear. I remember looking at my office, half expecting someone else to notice it too, but everyone seemed oblivious, lost in their own little worlds. Meanwhile, I was stuck in mine, trapped with this relentless ringing that refused to let up. It wasn't until later, much later, that I learned what it was: tinnitus. A condition where your ears decide to start their own private symphony, one that plays on a loop 24/7. And it all started on that normal, unassuming Tuesday afternoon, right there at my desk in the office. In the immediate moment when the tinnitus began, I didn't really have time to think about what could be causing it. My mind was too busy grappling with the sudden intrusion of this relentless noise. But as the minutes ticked by and the ringing persisted, I couldn't help but entertain all sorts of wild theories. Maybe it was the air conditioning system acting up, sending out some strange frequency that only I could hear. Or perhaps it was a side effect of the construction work going on outside the office building, some kind of reverberation bouncing off the walls and into my ears. I even considered the possibility of some hidden medical condition, something worse like going deaf or crazy. But deep down, I knew none of these explanations felt quite right. There was something about the sound, something unnatural, that made me doubt it had a simple, logical cause. For the next 4 days, I became confused, frustrated, and anxious. The incessant ringing in my ears had become a constant companion, following me everywhere. At first, I tried to carry on with my daily routine as if nothing had changed. I went to work, tried to focus on my tasks, but the noise in my head made it nearly impossible to concentrate. Simple things like conversations with coworkers or even just sitting in silence became unbearable. As the days wore on and the tinnitus showed no signs of letting up, I found myself becoming increasingly desperate. I scoured the internet for answers, diving into forums and medical websites in search of a cure or at least some semblance of understanding. I tried everything I could think of to silence the noise. Meditation, white noise machines, even sticking cotton balls in my ears in a futile attempt to block it out. But nothing worked. The ringing persisted. By the 4th day, I was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of sound, unable to escape no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't help but wonder if things would ever be normal again. When I finally mustered up the courage to seek help from a doctor, and after getting an audiometric test and physical exam, for the first time in my life, I was hoping there was something wrong with me. But what he said next flooded my body with anxiety. Good news! Based on your exam, there's nothing wrong with your hearing or ears. It's tinnitus, which usually happens around this age. There's nothing we can do. You'll just have to learn to live with it. Good news? Learn to live with it? How was I supposed to live with this constant torment that had invaded every aspect of my life? To make matters worse, the doctor told me to seek group therapy and prescribe antidepressants to help me cope with the emotional toll of living with tinnitus. While I understood his intentions, it felt like a Band-Aid solution for a wound that ran much deeper than any pill could ever reach. But I did what he recommended and tried to stay on the positive side, thinking maybe it'll pass on its own. Just like with everything else, time heals all. I sought out group therapy sessions for people dealing with tinnitus. Sitting in that circle of strangers, all of us bound together by our shared suffering, was both comforting and heartbreaking. On one hand, it was a relief to know that I wasn't alone in this struggle. On the other hand, seeing the pain etched on the faces of my fellow sufferers only served as a grim reminder of the harsh reality we were all facing. And this is where things started to get worse. The tinnitus that initially began as a single persistent ringing started to evolve. One sound was ringing, another sound hissing, and the final one was buzzing. And then there was the sensation of blood roaring through the veins of my right ear. With each passing day, the relentless assault on my senses took its toll, leaving me feel drained and depleted. My brain felt like it was on fire, burning with the effort of trying to filter out the barrage of noise that bombarded it from all sides. And as the volume of the tinnitus increased, if that wasn't enough, my hearing began to fade. It became muffled and indistinct, and even the simplest sounds seemed to elude me. It's no wonder that my brain began to shut down from stress due to sensory overload it was forced to endure. The most difficult moment came when I started to notice the gradual erosion of my mind. It was a terrifying realization, one that struck me at the very core of my identity. I had always prided myself on my intellect and mental acuity, but now I found myself struggling to recall even the simplest of tasks. There were moments when I would enter my laboratory with a clear purpose in mind, only to find myself standing there, staring blankly at the equipment around me, unable to remember what I was supposed to be doing. My colleagues, who had once looked to me for guidance and leadership, began to express their concerns about my ability to perform my job. They suggested that I take some time off to rest and recuperate. The thought of stepping away from my work only filled me with dread. Without my research to distract me, I feared that the darkness that lurked within my mind would consume me entirely. In my desperation, I turned to every remedy I could find, hoping against hope that something, anything, would offer relief. I tried teas, meditation, acupuncture, sound therapy, white noise, anything that promised even the faintest glimmer of hope. But despite my best efforts, the relentless onslaught of tinnitus and cognitive decline refused to be silenced. I was ashamed and frightened, terrified of what my friends and family might think if they knew the truth. Would they see me as weak? Or worse, going insane? The strain of living with tinnitus didn't just affect me. It took a toll on my relationships as well, particularly with my wife and daughter. As the days turned into weeks and then months, the constant ringing in my ears became a constant presence in our home, an unwelcome third party that seemed to wedge itself between us. At first, my wife tried to be understanding, offering words of comfort and support as I struggled to cope with my newfound condition. But as time went on and the tinnitus showed no signs of relenting, her patience began to wear thin. There were times when she would shoot me a frustrated look, her eyes silently pleading to me to make it stop, as if it were something I had any control over. And then there were the arguments, the bitter, heated exchanges that seemed to spring up out of nowhere, fueled by frustration and resentment on both sides. My wife would accuse me of not trying hard enough to find a solution, of letting my condition consume me instead of fighting back. In turn, I would lash out in frustration, feeling misunderstood and alone in my struggle. Then one night, when the sounds were at their loudest, like 1,000 sirens going off in my head all at once, I just couldn't take it anymore. I started violently slapping my ears like a madman, screaming at the top of my lungs, doing anything to drown out the noise. I had completely lost control, and out of nowhere, my daughter walked in. She's just standing there, wide-eyed and terrified, watching her old man lose his mind. I saw the fear in her eyes. But before I could even try to explain, my wife burst in too. She takes one look at the scene and doesn't even say a word. She just grabs our daughter and hightails it out of there. I got a phone call from her later that night. They were staying at my mother's house. She tells me straight up, if I ever pull a stunt like that again, they're out of here. That I either figure this thing out or they're gone for good. And you know what? She's right. I shouldn't have acted like that, especially in front of our daughter. It was a wake-up call, a reality check that hit me like a ton of bricks. It was something completely out of my character, but you've never seen your craziest side until you've got a 24-hour ringing sound haunting the inside of your ears. I was frustrated and upset with myself that even with my medical background, how embarrassing it was to not have found a single solution. It was right then when I told myself, I will beat this thing, no matter what. I cannot fail my family or continue living like this any longer. I paused, took a deep breath, and asked the Lord to guide me, and started to analyze my options. 1. I could continue on a familiar path and trust in our medical system or Big Pharma's Band-Aid solutions, with its promise of quick fixes, and put my faith into that one day there will be some sort of medical breakthrough. Or 2. Take matters into my own hands and beat this thing like a real man, father, and husband, using my medical expertise and connections. It was far-fetched, but I really had no other choice. I started to research and get my hands on any piece of literature or scientific methods that could remove my tinnitus. As I delved deeper into my research, I found myself confronting a frustrating truth. Most of the explanations stated that tinnitus was primarily a byproduct of age or prolonged exposure to loud noises. But that wasn't my circumstance at all. I had spent years working in a relatively quiet environment and lived in a peaceful neighborhood, far removed from the din of urban life. Moreover, there were no medications capable of curing tinnitus. It seemed a bit odd that in an age of medical advancements, there existed no pharmaceutical remedy for a condition that plagued so many lives. The common recommendation was to take antidepressants to cope with anxiety. Another big pharma plot to keep you on the hamster wheel, was my first thought. As I sifted through study after study, it became increasingly clear that the root cause of tinnitus remained a mystery. Ear infections, bacterial diseases, none of these explanations seemed to hold any weight when compared to my own situation. Down on my luck, I was on the verge of giving up. And then, I stumbled upon something I've never seen before, and one peculiar creature that would be responsible for my entire healing process. Scientists at the University of Los Angeles discovered a special gene known as ISL1 that has a protective role in the cochlear hair cells of echolocating bats that allows them to cancel out certain noises and possesses a remarkable capability to regenerate their hearing through specific substances found in their diets that renew and restore the entire auditory system to work perfectly again. But what are these substances? And how do they get to the brain and fix our hearing? Excited, I immediately gave the University of Los Angeles a ring. The person on the other end of the line seemed a bit guarded, with their responses cryptic and evasive. When I pressed for more information about the research on tinnitus, they skirted around my questions and asked me to stop being so persistent. Seems a bit suspicious to me. So I pored over the research paper once again to see if there were any more clues. And then, something caught my eye when reading citations at the bottom of the page. It was none other than my old professor from college, Dr. Harrison Cohen, renowned neurologist whose brilliance had always left me in awe. He wrote several books and published many studies on neurodegenerative changes, and worked in the neurological field for more than 25 years. If anyone held the key to unlocking the mysteries of tinnitus, it was him. I set out to track him down, scouring the internet for any trace of his recent work or whereabouts. It didn't take long to find his contact. I dialed the number and waited anxiously for a response. My heart pounded in my chest with anticipation. But instead of the familiar voice of my old professor, a soft, older woman's voice greeted me on the other end of the line. I asked if Dr. Cohen was available, and she explained that my old college professor had unfortunately passed away some time ago. I was in complete disbelief. Just a few moments ago, I was excited to discuss his research and reconnect with my old professor. Reality sank in when she asked me not to call there anymore, as the pain of losing her husband was too much to be reminded of. I wanted to respect her wishes, but I explained to her my situation and how his work could change the lives of millions of sufferers around the globe, and vowed to honor his memory by continuing his research. I made a bold decision. I would take a risk and visit my old professor's wife in person. I knew that I had come too far to turn back now. My wife and daughter stood by my side with their unwavering support. I hugged and kissed them goodbye, promising to return soon with answers in hand. Booking the first flight out, it was a leap of faith, a gamble on the hope that my old colleague's wife would be willing to share his research with me. Finally, the moment of truth arrived as I stood on her doorstep, my heart pounding in my chest with anticipation. I knocked on the door, waited anxiously for a response. And then there she stood, my old professor's wife, a beacon of hope in the darkness. With tears in her eyes, she welcomed me inside. As I stepped inside my old colleague's house, my eyes swept across the room. And hanging on the wall above a desk full of papers, a photograph of him and me. She stated he was very fond of me and said that I was one of his best students. And that was the only reason she allowed me in. She then opened the doors to his old office, covered in dust, not touched in what seemed like years, and allowed me to look into his research. Hours passed as I dug through the wealth of information before me. And then I stumbled upon it. The study of bats, nestled among the pages like a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. My professor had not only uncovered the secrets of tinnitus, but he had also unearthed a medical breakthrough of unparalleled significance. What he proved was that tinnitus was actually a disease of the entire auditory system, not just a simple ear disorder, and how echolocating bats only found in a remote region in Serbia could unravel why tinnitus begins in the first place. These adorable little flying creatures unveiled the only piece of truth about tinnitus, and it showed tinnitus wasn't just a simple hearing issue. Rather, how the protective ISL1 gene is more active in the microscopic hair cells found in their ears, connected to special nerve endings called cochlear cells. Humans share these same microscopic hairs and ISL1 gene, and they play a vital role in converting sound vibrations into electrical signals that travel to the brain, where our auditory system translates them. As we age, these hairs naturally die off, leading to scrambled signals and the perception of various noises like buzzing, ringing, humming, or crackling. If this wasn't enough, if not treated immediately, cells began to die off, making it almost impossible for us to hear normally again due to the stress they are put under. And that's because when you have 24/7 screeching in your ear, it can feel like a mental prison, which leads to great distress. You do anything to make those noises stop, which begins the tinnitus cycle. Your cochlear cells fail to decode sound properly, which sends messed up signals to the brain, which then creates a havoc of stress on the brain, making everything much worse. There's also many international scientific studies that link hearing loss to dementia and even Alzheimer's, because when the auditory system starts failing, the part of the brain that receives these signals degrades over time, causing memory loss and migraine issues. These reports also indicate that individuals experiencing hearing loss face a significantly heightened risk, 5 times more in fact, of developing severe conditions such as Alzheimer's or dementia. Seeing these reports made me swallow my spit in fear that my condition could literally erode my brain permanently. Thankfully, with the professor's journals, there was a glimmer of hope. He noted that regrowing these hairs is nearly impossible for individuals over 40. However, utilizing a specialized imaging device known as an in vivo microscope, designed to observe biological structures in real time and reveal hidden processes within living organisms, he delved into the inner ears of the Serbian echolocating bats. What he discovered was remarkable. These bats possess an extraordinary capability to regenerate their cochlear hairs and support their ISL1 gene to block unnecessary noises thanks to specific substances present in their diet. While humans lack this natural regrowth ability, certain substances can stimulate the growth of new cells from existing ones, while supporting gene expression known as stromal cells in medical terms. Decades went into this research. Every page I could sense the blood, sweat, and tears that poured into his quest for answers. From detailed brain scans to intricate laser imaging, from exhaustive studies of medicinal plants to in-depth examinations of animal anatomy, his research left no stones unturned. And finally, I had it in my hands, the exact protocol to reverse tinnitus and hearing loss, a potential lifeline for countless individuals suffering from my same struggles. Each word I traced with my finger, carefully studying this method. But one thing I didn't understand is why he never made this discovery public. I had to find out, and saw in one of his journal entries that he too developed tinnitus randomly one evening while in his lab. He first assumed it was the neon light fixtures, or maybe one of the imaging machines, but the noise followed him for years. But once he figured out the formula to treat himself, it vanished within exactly 7 days. He noted how his memory and ability to remember certain things like phone numbers, grocery lists, birthdays, and anniversaries improved drastically. He even developed a musical ear during this time. At the end of the journal, I found something even more surprising. Dr. Cohen tried to publish his research in international journals twice and was offered a huge sum of money from a big corporate company for the rights to his formula. And when he flat out refused, they threatened to silence his research and deny all publications from ever being seen. This is the exact reason he wrote everything in this journal. I couldn't believe it, but the more I thought about it, it made sense. I mean, think about it. We all saw how they handled the health crisis in recent years, putting cities under lockdown, trapping citizens in hotels, enforcing curfews at odd hours, and disappearing scientists who challenged the status quo. So shutting someone up who could quite literally bring down the big Pharma cartel made a lot of sense, which brought everything full circle when I thought about what happened to me when I called the University of Los Angeles. Big Pharma probably came knocking on their doors because it threatened their precious profits. I could not stand it any longer. I became infuriated and made it a personal vendetta to fight back so that Dr. Cohen's discovery would be known to the world, especially considering that 1 out of every 10 individuals suffers from the same ringing in the ears that I've been tormented with, let alone being at risk of a more severe condition such as Alzheimer's or dementia if not treated immediately. After carefully reading each step of Dr. Cohen's protocol, which stated to not only reverse tinnitus and faded hearing through a unique capability to regenerate cochlear support cells, but also has the ability to protect the brain from memory loss and other age-related illnesses. I documented the entire healing process and listed the exact substance that our brain and auditory system needs, triple checking the precise amount of each ingredient in the recipe. Armed with newfound knowledge, I wanted to take it back to my lab for testing, so I thanked Dr. Cohen's wife, hugged her goodbye, and promised we would make her husband's discovery known to the world. Now, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to say, because this is probably the most important part of the entire presentation and comes directly out of Professor Cohen's journal. This information has never been published until now and has been kept under wraps due to big pharma pressures. So let me break down what's in the formula. But remember, it's only guaranteed to work 100% when you mix all the ingredients in the exact same ratios. That's how you get the best results against hearing loss, tinnitus, and brain disorders. Without getting the prep right, the entire method is basically useless and is one of the many reasons thousands of medications and supplements don't have any effect. This is something the so-called medical experts will never tell you, because they've been trained by the big pharma corporations to keep you on the hamster wheel, eating out of their palm and never getting any healthier. Through rigorous studies of the brain in Professor Cohen's journal, he found that tinnitus and hearing loss all shared one common attribute. The nerve cells are always inflamed or dead. Over time, as you age, the nerves and tissue in the brain become inflamed or swollen due to a lack of essential nutrients. It can create pressure in your skull. This messes up the signals, causing issues like hearing loss, brain fog, headaches, memory loss, and that annoying ringing in your ears. Dr. Cohen knew exactly which ingredients to use to relax the entire nervous system. Eleuthera, a small but mighty shrub nestled in the peaceful woods of Serbia. For more than 2,000 years, people in Serbia have relied on this plant for its healing powers. Then astragalus, a time-honored herbal remedy from Serbia, working its magic to fortify your eardrums and nurture the production of vital cochlear cells. These cells are like little guardians, helping you catch every sound that is crucial for damaged hearing. And then there's maca, the newest addition to the Superfoods Club, popularized for its remarkable effects on the brain. It's like a gentle healer, soothing our nervous systems and banishing the burdens of constant stress that we all face. Dr. Cohen's groundbreaking research reveals that it can also enhance memory and learning abilities by an impressive 15%. Additionally, it significantly diminishes feelings of anxiety, promoting a sense of calmness and well-being. Moreover, it stimulates the production of new support cells within the auditory system, crucial for the complete restoration of hearing health. So not only does it sharpen the mind, but it also brings peace and vitality to the entire auditory experience. Next, guarana, praised for reducing tiredness, boosting energy, and aiding memory. By improving blood flow, it delivers oxygen to the ears, while its antioxidants fight harmful free radicals, helping maintain healthy hearing. In short, guarana keeps your ears sharp and energized for a vibrant auditory experience. Gymnema, a hidden gem in the formula, boasts powerful anti-inflammatory and immune-boosting properties. These qualities not only alleviate existing inflammation, but also shield against its recurrence, ensuring that hearing problems such as tinnitus remain at bay. African mango is added and has been studied extensively and found to have several health benefits. It improves circulation, which is important for keeping your heart healthy and functioning well. This is particularly important for people with tinnitus, who often hear their own heartbeat or pulse even when resting. African mango helps address this issue by improving blood flow, which can reduce the perception of these sounds, giving you the peace and quiet you need. Coleus is a vital ingredient that rejuvenates cells and prevents aging. By boosting cellular energy and halting cell death caused by brain inflammation, It promotes overall health. When combined with green tea, GABA, and Vitis vinifera, its benefits are maximized, supporting vitality and well-being. Vitis vinifera, a special woody vine abundant in nutrients and minerals, plays a crucial role alongside other plants in reversing neurodegeneration and repairing brain damage accumulated over the years. In simpler terms, it's like a powerful tool that helps the brain heal and stay healthy, thanks to its rich blend of essential nutrients and minerals. This potent combination acts as a supercharged boost for your brain, fueling its growth and development. It nourishes your brain cells, providing them with the resources they need to repair and regenerate. Additionally, it helps build new supporting cells in the cochlea, the part of the ear responsible for hearing. As a result, you'll experience sharper thinking, improved cognitive function, and clearer mental clarity in just a few days. Now, this formula is extremely complex, with other more exotic ingredients than those mentioned. It has specific plants only found in remote regions of the world, making it difficult to gain access to. Some have never been discussed by even the most elite doctors. After months of research and development through our high-performance laboratory, alongside our team of dedicated scientists, nutritionists, and medical experts, we selected only the purest forms of the ingredients. We created this compound mixture using the latest technology to bring Dr. Cohen's formula to life. And to be honest, it was far from easy. So many of these farms use pesticides and other chemicals that kill any of the beneficial factors these ingredients have. It took many phone calls, translators, and other communication methods just to find suppliers that were honest and trustworthy. But we knew, as tough as it was, it would be worth every ounce of effort we put forth into creating this life-changing formula. After what felt like years, I finally had the first prototype ready in my hands that would put a stop to my hearing issues once and for all and get my life back to normal. I wanted to try it immediately, so I put it to the test and became my very own guinea pig. I would never want to hand out something that I myself didn't try first, or know with 100% certainty would work for others without any harmful side effects. Now, we purposely made the formula liquid form for 3 very important reasons. Firstly, in liquid form, it allows it to enter the bloodstream immediately, while allowing the body to absorb the nutrients quickly and replenishing your brain and entire auditory system with the substances they've been deprived of for years. Secondly, we wanted to ensure the safety and not risk anyone choking or feeling like pills would be too large to swallow. And thirdly, because this is the exact method used by Professor Cohen in his battle against tinnitus, I wanted to stay consistent with his formula. After taking the initial dose, which was just 2 drops of the potent formula, I added it to my morning coffee, said my morning prayers, and waited to see what would happen. I didn't expect to feel any different, but made note of my experience every step of the way. Day 1. As expected, no change, but I stuck to the protocol. Day 2. I felt a subtle change in my mood. I wasn't as anxious anymore and had noticed the daily panic attacks finally ceased, while a calm serenity washed over me. By day 4, the 3 constant noises I was hearing lessened, and would only be heard if I focused on trying to hear them. Now, Professor Cohen noted that the formula works in 4 stages. Stage 1. Your hearing begins to strengthen and improve. New cochlear cells begin to sprout, ensuring that the sounds you hear are clearer than ever before, while also banishing that pesky ringing in your ears and calming your nervous system. Stage 2. As your hearing sharpens with tinnitus no longer in the picture, your brain kicks into high gear, repairing its once damaged auditory cortex. The result? High-definition hearing that rivals the clarity of your teenage years, or even surpasses it, as many individuals have reported. Stage 3. With your hearing issues resolved, other health issues that stem from them simply vanish. If your memory was once cloudy, it returns sharper than ever before. And if you've battled fatigue or depression, you'll feel a rejuvenating surge in energy levels and mood. Stage 4. You can practically feel your brain getting stronger by the day. Those pesky auditory issues? A thing of the past. Thanks to your revitalized cochlear cells and enhanced auditory cortex, you're now effortlessly picking up on even the subtlest signals and distinguishing between sounds with ease. Who knows? You might even discover a newfound musical ear like Professor Cohen. I was simply in awe at just how swiftly this formula was working. By week 2, it had already stopped those incessant ringing in my ears that were driving me nuts. And by the 3rd week, that annoying sensation of blood roaring in my right ear had completely vanished. What's more, all this gave me a massive boost in my mood. I was no longer depressed or anxiety-driven. And the best part? I slept like a baby, almost every single night. Even then, I kept taking drops every morning, doing exactly what was written in the protocol, just to see what would happen. And to my astonishment, at the end of my treatment, I felt like my brain was sharper than ever. I could remember the tiniest details, was more active, and even received compliments from my wife about how my energy levels reminded her of when we first met. After seeing these results for myself, I found a new purpose in life. And that was to share this with as many people who had lost hope as possible. But first, I wanted to put it to the test, and decided to conduct a small-scale trial with fellow tinnitus sufferers. So I placed an ad in the local paper inviting volunteers to join a controlled test with Professor Cohen's natural formula. To my utter astonishment, within a mere 2 hours of the ad's publication, my inbox was flooded with eager responses. People from all walks of life, some in their 20s, and even more in their 80s and 90s, who suffered the grips of tinnitus for more than a decade, begged to volunteer. There were even some celebrities who caught wind of what I was doing and offered to be the face of our formula. However, I was never in this for the money or celebrity fame. I just wanted to help as many people as humanly possible. So we rounded up a group of 79 participants and gave them one task. Take 2 drops every morning for the next 60 days and write down your experience each day. As each day went by, I was on the edge of my seat, constantly refreshing my emails. What happened next had my jaw drop to the floor. It was a Tuesday morning. Just 3 days later, after administering the formula, I awoke to what I mistook for my usual alarm clock, but instead was the sound of my email notifications from my phone. People were flooding my inbox, stating that their tinnitus had finally vanished and were able to finally sleep peacefully through the night after years and years of insomnia. I even received videos of patients who suffered from hearing loss crying because they could finally hear the voice of their loved ones again. What's more is many of them not only reported having improved their hearing, but also able to think more clearly, remember things more easily, and wake up rejuvenated with heightened energy levels. The feeling of knowing the formula wasn't just a one-off event gave me reassurance that I was heading down the right path. But I told each volunteer to stick to the protocol and continue taking the drops for lasting results. After the trial run was over, I collected the results, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Out of the 79 test subjects, almost each and every single patient restored their hearing and got rid of their tinnitus for good. The success of the study was beyond what I envisioned, and that's when I knew my purpose was set in stone. I was going to get this formula in the hands of as many tinnitus sufferers around the world at a price so affordable that anyone suffering would be able to access it, regardless of Big Pharma's interest. With the blessing of Professor Cohen's wife, we decided to make his formula known worldwide so that any and all those who suffer have the right to heal and not just line the pockets of the Big Pharma cartel. We named it EchoXen because it's specifically designed to nurture and support your cochlear cells, ensuring that sound vibrations reach your brain with pristine quality, passing through your auditory cortex in their pure, original form. And we know the medical communities are going to try to do everything in their power to delay us from making this product available by throwing every obstacle they can in our way. We know we can't wait another second and must present this to the world immediately. The only real tinnitus treatment confirmed by science, with over 40,000 test subjects worldwide. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so how can I get my hands on EchoXen as quickly as possible? Well, just getting this made was insanely difficult. Just finding the right ingredients for the mix was challenging enough. After jumping through many hoops, we were able to secure a deal with a small farm in Serbia to source our ingredients, which we then manufacture right here in the US, according to strict FDA rules. It takes roughly 6 to 8 months to produce a batch in these conditions, but we stand proud of the standard and would never jeopardize safety for profit ever. Even more, The people who have tested our product so far are demanding more of it, with some having zero hearing issues, but just want to boost their hearing and mental capabilities. This is why our stock sells out so fast. Unfortunately, several big pharmaceutical companies have already started a battle against us. They've threatened to take us to court if we don't stop selling our product immediately, because it could hurt their potential long-term profits. We've been able to stave them off so far, but there is no guarantee that they won't come at us with more aggressive tactics moving forward. But since you've been paying attention thus far, I'm going to offer you a one-time opportunity to buy EchoXen right now while stocks last. Before I do that though, you need to know exactly how to take it to achieve maximum results. When you receive your bottle, start by taking 2 droppers every morning for a minimum of 30 days. 1 bottle of EchoXen contains exactly 60 droppers, so this will be enough for the first month. After a week, you'll start seeing results almost immediately. By the end of the first month, the formula will have had enough time to kick in, and you'll notice your hearing will begin to improve. But you gotta have patience. I know you're eager to get well quickly, but you need to stick to the protocol. This 100% natural treatment works the brain and auditory system from the inside out, and isn't some toxic big pharma pill that only treats the symptom and not the root cause. After the initial month, we recommend taking EchoXen for another 2 months, which equates to 3 bottles of EchoXen. This has been proven to be optimal for cellular regeneration to take place at a deeper level, so that all your hearing improvements gained at this point will become permanent with lasting results. But the most profound results were reported from people who've taken EchoXen for a full 6-month course. Not only did this help them clear their tinnitus and regain their hearing, but also increased their cognitive functions, keeping their minds sharp and giving them a boost of energy throughout the day. Now, determining the exact extent of damage to your brain or auditory cortex, as well as the remaining cochlear cells that have endured, is almost impossible to know and is influenced by various factors such as medical history, diet, and lifestyle. To ensure maximum effectiveness, we recommend a 6-month regimen of EchoXen. This slightly extended duration allows the formula enough time to work its magic, fully supporting cochlear cells while revitalizing your brain so that your hearing issues are a thing of the past and your brain fog goes away once and for all. Everyone who's followed the professor's protocol with EchoXen has reported just how effective the formula is. Here's just a few of the messages that people who have used EchoXen have sent to me. And these stories are the exact reason why it's been my new life's mission. Our product works for all kinds of people, regardless of their age or current condition. All these results with just 2 small droppers per day, taking less than 10 seconds of your time. That's why I and many others can confidently tell you that this is by far the #1 natural treatment for tinnitus and hearing loss. Nothing comes even remotely close to what this formula can do for you. Of course, there's always going to be some alternative medications. You could see countless doctors like I did to just waste time and money. You could experiment with odd surgeries in an effort to remove your tinnitus. But as stated before, it's not a simple ear complication. It's a result of the entire auditory system and brain not being fed the substances it needs to heal. But why not try something so effective first? Something that could greatly improve any of your hearing issues without spending a fortune on these alternative healing treatments. Yes, there's meditation, acupuncture, sound retraining therapy. But it's not a matter of if these treatments work. It's a matter of when and how long you're going to wait. Like I said before, tinnitus can lead to further damage to next, unrecoverable conditions like Alzheimer's or dementia. Instead, you'll be able to see results within 3 weeks at most, and you don't have to worry about any other side effects or long-term issues, as EchoXen is the only safe and natural method to support your hearing today. Now, my team of scientists, ENTs, and researchers pressed me to sell this formula at $580 per bottle, while stating we'd go down in history and become filthy rich. But I'm not in this for the money, and never was. In fact, it's not even my invention. I only helped bring Professor Cohen's discovery to life using state-of-the-art laboratory equipment and modern-day technology. EchoXen could only be possible by his sheer dedication and wanting to help others escape the torture of tinnitus. EchoXen is the only supplement available on the market that actually addresses the real root cause of tinnitus and doesn't just put a Band-Aid over the symptoms. Think about how much just one doctor visit costs, just to find out you'll be given those ugly hearing aids, or to have to undergo some sort of painful surgery. I want you to ask yourself, how much is it worth to you to finally be able to sleep through the entire night without those pesky sounds disturbing your sleep ever again? How much is it worth to you to have the peace of mind that these sounds are no longer wreaking havoc on your brain due to the stress or sensory overload? How much is it worth to you knowing that your brain is protected from sudden diseases such as amnesia, Alzheimer's, or even dementia? So even if it did cost $580 a bottle, it'd still be a lot cheaper. But again, we're not here to sell you some expensive formula. And that's why I decided to cut out the middleman and make it only available on this website, passing the savings on to you. I know exactly what it feels like to suffer from tinnitus, let alone have your hearing start to fade. So my mission was always to help others get well too. I prayed and wished that I had access to something as powerful as EchoXen before I went on the verge of going insane and almost losing my family over my condition. But let's move forward and get that ringing to silence and put EchoXen in your hands today before stock sells out. Remember, before trying all those expensive and possibly toxic medications, you can do something about it right now. And I promise to you, I won't be charging anything close to $580 for this life-changing formula. Instead, because you've watched this video until the end, I'm willing to give you the rare opportunity to grab a bottle of EchoXen for only $69 for a limited time. This will allow you to get the help you need to recover from your hearing problems without breaking the bank. Now, if you decide to go for the entire 6-month protocol, we're going to slash that price even more by giving you a 30% discount on each bottle, which comes down to just $49 per bottle for a total of $294. I must say though, this offer is only available today and while supplies last. Most of our customers reserve their treatment in advance because it takes about 6 to 8 months for another batch to be made. That's why the smartest decision is taking full advantage of the 6-month protocol. That way, you'll have enough EchoXen to last you the full course of treatment and never have to worry about running out of bottles in the future. And when your hearing reverses back to normal and the incessant noises have noticeably vanished, you'll see how just one insignificant investment will pay for itself over and over again for years to come. Of course, one bottle of EchoXen is enough to pause that ringing in your ears. But imagine what 3 bottles could do to reverse any mental afflictions caused by tinnitus or hearing problems. Even more, think about what 6 bottles could do to protect your memory and brain for years ahead, shielding it from diseases like amnesia and dementia. So stop everything you're doing right now and take a glance at the offer we've prepared for you below this video, and select the one that makes the most sense for you. When you click the order button, you'll be taken directly to the checkout page, where you'll be able to enter your payment details and finalize your order. Once done, your bottles of EchoXen will be delivered right to your doorstep within 7 days or less. Again, this is your last chance to secure a full treatment of EchoXen before supplies run out. And don't forget, no matter what happens, or if you decide EchoXen is not for you, you're protected by our full 60-day, 100% healthy or money-back guarantee. That way, the only risk you could possibly face is the one of pain and regret if you miss out on experiencing this life-changing formula when you had the chance. And you might not even realize it, but today, you've come to a very real crossroad of a once-in-a-lifetime choice you must make between 2 very different realities. The first choice has a reality where you do anything other than finally treating your tinnitus and getting your life back that you truly desire and deserve. A reality that is full of more pain, frustration, and despair as your hearing ability worsens and the ringing becomes unbearable, while your brain continues to deteriorate. A reality where you never free yourself from the prison of tinnitus. None of this you deserve, and I know this isn't what you desire for yourself. Now, there's another reality available for your choosing. A new reality that has been chosen and celebrated by over 40,000 tinnitus sufferers that have been on this same once-in-a-lifetime crossroads before you. One in which the incessant noises and mental exhaustion cease to exist. It's a reality in which you no longer dread the silence, where you can finally have a good night's rest, where you don't feel dazed and confused from the tormenting sounds of tinnitus. A reality where you wake up each morning fully rejuvenated, vibrant, feeling more alive than ever. A reality in which you are finally free. Free from the maddening sounds, the brain fog, free of the depression, and free from what's been holding you back for so long. Let's face it, this is the reality you've been waiting for ever since you first noticed your tinnitus. You may never get a chance to free yourself after today, because it's unsure how long we have until Big Pharma deploys a tactic we can't stop. Remember, this has already been tested by more than 40,000 happy beta testers. And if you find that the formula isn't working as fast as expected, send me a quick email. I answer all of them, and will literally buy it back from you, no questions asked. So click one of the options below, and let's get you back to feeling well right now. The last thing I want is for your health to possibly get worse. And there's always a chance that we'll sell out at any moment. I mean, there's really nothing else out there that can give you the potency needed to treat something like tinnitus or hearing loss for just $69, and even cheaper if you grab one of the bundle packages, which is exactly what our smartest customers are doing. Pillaging our stock at record speeds, and because of that, we might be forced to raise the price to over $179 per bottle, as supply chains are clogged and sourcing products gets more difficult. Proven natural treatments, such as EchoXen, only come around once in a blue moon. Thousands of hours of research and development went into the creation of this formula, and you've been blessed to be among one of the first to find out about it. So do yourself a favor and go ahead and make a risk-free order today. And when your hearing clears up and you feel better, don't hesitate to email us about how it's changed your life.